According to a national survey, the group of women with the highest percentage of lifetime prevalence of intimate partner violence is American Indian or Alaska Native at 57.7%, which is over 10% higher than the national average. Rates of other violent crimes, including abduction, rape, and murder, are all higher than national average. And on some reservations, these women face murder rates more than 10 times the national average. Very often, disappearances and murders are directly linked to domestic violence, dating violence, and sexual assault. Today's case gives a name to these numbers: Heather Cameron Haller. On August 18th, 2012, after being picked up by an ex-boyfriend, this mother of four went missing from a rural part of Redding, California. After placing multiple 911 calls where she said she had been drugged and she needed help, Heather was never seen again.
Welcome to Like Mother, Like Murder. I am Rachel.
And I'm Heather.
We bring you the good,
the badass,
and the crime.
This is Like Mother, Like Murder.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Like Mother, Like Murder, your favorite true crime momcast. I am Rachel.
And I am Heather. And each week we bring you mom-related true crime content, from missing moms to murdered moms, moms who murder, survivors, and much more.
Yes, that is what we do. If you're new here, welcome. Hello. We typically start off, we have a little chat session. Not too long, I promise. But if that's not what you're here for, you can always fast forward. But Heather, right off the bat, I have a story that I have to tell you.
Okay, go.
Okay. So for anyone listening right now, if you've been listening this whole time, or if you know me, Heather, you know me, I'm
a little bit.
I'm a little competitive.
No.
Just a little bit.
Rachel? Competitive?
So this is just who I am as a person. And so my daughter plays soccer, as did I. And while she was at practice, I'm kind of stepping back right now because I've needed to just, step back a little bit from her soccer practices. So Joel and I, we walked to the batting cages. And of course, the entire way that we walked to the batting cages, I just talk mad shit about how great I am at everything I do in life. And so I get to the batting cages. We get the tokens. We just got one token each because we were just going to mess around and then leave. I did not hit a single ball. 20 pitches, I did not make contact with a single ball, Heather.
Rachel!
I have never been so
Do you need new glasses?
Humiliated in my life. Okay, so that's the funnier part, because Joel is looking at me like, what is happening?
What's wrong with
Because,
you?
I mean, if you know, this is not normal. So he's staring at me. He's like, dude, what's up? And I wish to my core I had a reason. Oh, my back hurt. Oh, I can't see. Oh, no, I was perfectly fine.
There's something wrong.
I do not know. And so, of course, now he's going to bat and I'm supposed to be there and watch him. No, I take my ass to get 2 more tokens because this is unacceptable behavior. I missed 19 more balls. I only made 1 contact out of 40 pitches.
Rachel, what's wrong?
Heather, I am unwell. I'm emotionally and mentally.
Rachel's gonna be back at the batting cages today.
Oh, I would be
she's
if
gonna
we
be
were
like,
not recording.
I'm not okay.
I called my younger brother this morning and had to shout on the phone and explain that this is just crazy. And that afterwards, when we were walking back, Joel just kept looking at me like, are you okay?
Seriously.
And I'm like,
because now
I don't know what
we're
to say.
worried about not only your physical well-being, but also mentally. Rachel's not going to be able to stop thinking about this for the next month.
I haven't stopped for the last 14 hours, okay? It has been weighing on me. No, it hasn't even been 14 hours. It hasn't even been 12. I am going to go back today. It's just a matter of time. Like, it is happening. I will update you guys on what happens, because if I miss again, I will live there. I will apply to work for the city here. I will get a job as a Parks and Rec person, which I've done before in my life, so I have the experience. No reason not to hire me. And I will work at the batting cages, okay? Also, just another side note, there was at least 40 little kids watching me. So I'm sure
Just
that was
whiff
like
it
their best
40
day
times.
ever. Yeah. Like, why would she try again? That's so bad.
Because, kids, we don't give up. We do not give up.
At that point, I should have. But no, I'm going to go back. And
I am worried about you, though. That was like very not normal, Rachel.
I can usually hit. So it was really funny because when I missed like the first like 6 or 7 balls, I was like, obviously something's wrong. So then I switch hit. I go to the other side because I can typically do that as well. And I couldn't hit lefty. I couldn't hit righty. I couldn't put my arm out and just bunt the ball. I couldn't do a damn thing. There was no contact with me, this bat, and a ball. I'm screaming right now, you guys. I'm so sorry. But this is just something
wrong.
It's criminal.
Rachel.
It's criminal.
I'm
I think so.
Legitimately worried about you right now.
Yeah. You should be.
Like, how many fingers am I holding up?
2.
I'm scared.
2 strikes, I was out. Not even 3. It was a problem. It was such a problem. So
that is okay. Now I'm like worried because like, what if like we turned the age that we turned this year, and now we just like don't have the ability anymore? I feel like I need to go to the batting cage and see if I have my skills still.
Well, and you know that, like, so on the way over there, I'm talking all this shit, like I said, whatever. Right. And Joel's like, oh, I'm just happy if I hit one because, you know, he's like, my back hurts.
And
he sits in a helicopter all day long. Yeah, and that dude was just like, think, 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 you know? And I'm like, okay, pro. Show off. But he was so concerned for me, dude. No joke. And not only one of the girls I go to the gym with was sitting there. And when I came out the first time I made eye contact with her, she looked away. Like, she couldn't even look at me anymore. She was like, no, you're actually humiliating me in this moment.
She's like, she like texted you later, I'm sorry, but I can't be seen at the gym with you.
Just, we can't work out together anymore because what was that?
I can't have you rubbing off on me. That was just too bad.
Yeah, I was.
Rachel. Okay, I need to be informed immediately. What happens next in this saga, because I am now concerned not only for your well-being, but I'm a little concerned for mine. I'm scared.
You better go too.
I need to go.
You better go too.
I need to go.
I've been saying I was going to go to the batting cages for like since I moved here. I love the batting cages.
Yeah.
And that I am hurt right now.
I'm hurt for you.
Actually, I was going to say unhurt me, but obviously, you know, this podcast will not unhurt me.
No, you're going to be hurt today.
Yeah.
In a different way. This case that I have for you today is it's going to be hurtful. It's going to be a little bit infuriating, actually. And but it's going to be an important thing to talk about, especially as of the recording of this episode, you guys, it is officially October. This episode will come out next week. We'll be well into October, but we are officially in October. And for those of you who do not know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Rachel and I will be focusing on some cases the next couple of weeks with that in mind. And before we start, let's just provide some information related to that. The National Domestic Violence Hotline. If you need resources for yourself, for your loved ones, if you need help, information, you can call 1-800-799-SAFE. So that's 1-800-799-7233. Or you can text START, so the word START, START, to 88788. If you also want to just go to the National Domestic Violence website, there's also a live chat option. Everything is free. Everything is confidential. They have a lot of resources. They also have, this is a national website, but they have a lot of links to local resources in your area that you can also go to. And again, this is, lots of different resources. If someone you love is needing help right now. So we're going to start off with that.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into today's case.
All right, sounds good. Let's do it.
So according to the National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey, this is a national survey that is put on by the CDC. It's 47.3% of women in the United States has reported intimate partner violence at some point in their lifetime. So when you think about that, that is almost 1 of every 2 women.
Yeah, that number is ridiculous.
Exactly. Every other woman if you think about that, 47.3%. Almost every other woman at some point in their lifetime has dealt with some kind of intimate partner violence. And like Rachel just said, it should go without saying that any violence against women is deplorable. It should not be
against
happening.
Anyone is deplorable.
True. Yes. Thank you.
But it is. It's crazy to think that way, to know that like it's like almost half right there. And that it's too high. 1 is too many. 1 is too many. And you're telling me that it's literally every other person? That's crazy.
And we've talked about this before when it comes to various groups of women. But there are certain groups of women who, unfortunately, they have to contend with this violence more than other groups. For decades, Indigenous peoples, including American Indian and Alaska Native women, have had to contend with higher rates of violence. So I'm going to put some numbers out, but let's remember that it is possible and most likely very, very probable that these numbers are underestimated and or very, very likely underreported.
Correct.
So according to this national survey, the group with the highest percentage of lifetime prevalence of intimate partner violence is this group, American Indian or Alaska Native women, at 57.7%. So that's over 10% higher than the national average. For this group, it isn't just intimate partner violence. Rates of other violent crimes, abduction, rape, murder, all higher than the national average. And when we're looking at just the sheer number of cases for missing and murdered, this group of women, they make up a significant proportion of the cases, even though when you look at how the population breaks down, American Indian and Alaska Native women make up less than 1% of the population, right? But when you look at their proportion in terms of missing and murdered, they're a significant proportion of all the cases.
Yeah, that's humiliating, you guys. That is humiliating. Sorry, go ahead. It's so upsetting to even think about that.
I mean, we've talked about this before. We've covered cases before. It's a problem. It's an epidemic. It's something that, especially here where I am, the Pacific Northwest, where there is a larger population of this group, this is something that really is important. and needs to be heard nationwide. But there is an epidemic, and this is the alarming amount of abductions and murdered and missing of these women is just one of the most devastating issues in these communities. And it's one that has, for a very long time, gone just completely ignored, and still, I mean, to this day is not talked about enough. The fact of the matter is, on some of those reservations, these women face murder rates more than 10 times the national average. Like, this is how bad it is. Unfortunately, very often, these disappearances, these murders, they are directly linked to domestic violence and sexual assault. I mean, that's just how it plays out. That was a lot of numbers. There's a lot of statistics. There's a lot of things that we threw at you. So today, we're going to highlight a case that actually puts a name to these numbers, puts a name on these statistics. Unfortunately, it's a name that was in the news a lot 10 plus years ago, especially locally in California. But unfortunately, as the years have gone by, you try to look up something more recent, there's not a lot out there.
Like, it just stopped.
Yep. Which is, unfortunately, the way this happens. But that's why a lot of times we bring up these cases, these names, because let's just do what we can to keep it alive. Let's do what we can to keep saying the name.
Yeah, just because it's not being reported anymore or investigated, and I don't know that. I don't know where you're headed. That doesn't mean it just goes away. That doesn't mean that this family just gives up. It doesn't mean that the problem's solved and you wash your hands of everything that's happened. No.
Exactly.
It just, the only thing it does show is that there's not enough people, or there's not enough, I don't want to just say people, care to continue to fight for these cases that are hard to find answers to.
Yeah.
Hard doesn't mean give up, guys. Hard means work harder.
So that's what we're here to do today. We're going to keep the work going. So her name was Heather Cameron Haller. August 18th, 2025, so just a few months ago now, was the 13th anniversary of the last day anyone saw this mother of four who went missing from a rural part of Redding, California.
Yeah, mother of four. Mother of four. And this isn't something that's just broadcast. Everyone deserves to be displayed everywhere, but I just think about children and the need to find answers,
Yep, I know. And when you hear the story, you're going to really wonder why the fuck there aren't more answers, because I think there's clearly a fucking answer here.
Oh, great.
Sorry, Terry. So this was posted to the Justice for Heather Cameron Haller Facebook page this past August on the anniversary of the day she went missing. Quote, "We will never give up searching for Heather, no matter how much time has passed. Her light continues to shine and guide us. She is loved, missed, and remembered every single day. And until she is found, we will keep moving forward with hope and determination." End quote.
You've got this.
Heather was born on August 11th, 1984. She was American Indian, a member of the Grand Ronde tribe. I hope I'm saying that right. The Grand Ronde Reservation is located in Western Oregon, has about 5,400 tribal members, and actually consists of over 30 tribes and bands spanning Western Oregon, Northern California, and Southwest Washington. Heather's cousin Shannon Halberg remembers that when Heather was younger, she actually traveled back and forth between Grand Ronde, which is in Oregon, and Redding, California. Shannon also remembers that, quote, "Heather wasn't given a very good chance at life," end quote. Heather's childhood could have been seen as flawed due to not only the constant change in living situation between Oregon and California, but also her parents' struggles with drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
But Shannon also remembers they found time to be kids, especially taking advantage of rural Redding summer activities, fishing, boating, dune buggies. The cousins enjoyed being out in nature, and Shannon remembers that their grandma used to call them Pocahontas.
Oh, that's cute.
Eventually, Heather would grow up, become a mother. By the time she was 28, she had 4 young children, 3 daughters and a son. She had been married, but she and her husband were estranged. That didn't stop her from being family-oriented and from still being a great mother. Unfortunately, though, like many in her situation, Heather wasn't able to escape the generational cycle of substance use and addiction. Family members recall that despite these struggles, Heather continued to be a good mom. She regularly saw her children and kept in touch with their fathers, no matter what was going on. Reports from her family also detailed a history of domestic violence. Another of Heather's cousins, Tanya Gleason Shepik, explained that Heather was a victim of domestic violence. So as you can see, like what we talked about earlier and what we'll get into, it is unfortunate. And especially when it comes to American Indian and Alaska Natives, we don't have to, I mean, if you have read a history book, we know that already being born into this group, the disenfranchisement is there. Thanks, America. But like now you're also dealing with a generational cycle of substance use disorder, which unfortunately, due to a lot of the disenfranchisement, is also part of being part of American Indian disenfranchisement and domestic violence as well. We know, we talked about the statistics, is also a large part of, is very rampant.
Yeah, it's like the odds were against her from the get-go.
Yeah.
Which is devastating.
It is. And despite all that, you can see that her family said that, you know, she still did everything she could to be family-oriented, to still be there for her kids, to maintain contact with the fathers of her children so that she could stay family-oriented. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but she was doing what she could to be a better person. The last person to report actually seeing Heather was her ex-boyfriend, Daniel Lusby. According to her cousin Tanya, they were broken up at the time, but they still ran in the same circles. Let's talk about Daniel Lusby.
I was like, do we want to?
Unfortunately. Because he had a lengthy criminal record at the time of her disappearance.
Is he father to any of the children?
No.
Okay.
From what I could tell, he was not.
Okay.
Although his court records did show that he did go to court twice related to custody of 2 of other kids, but the mother named was not Heather.
Gotcha.
So in 2012, he was 28 years old, and he already had pretty stacked rap sheet. One article said that he'd been charged with 9 felonies in Shasta County since April of that year and had been in custody at the Shasta County Jail 11 times. And from what I found on the Shasta Superior Court website, in the literal days prior to Heather going missing, there are court documents that, if I'm reading right, which if you guys have ever looked at court documents, they're not the easiest things to read. but if I'm reading right, he basically pled out to a bunch of felony charges. He pled out to get him only 13 days in jail and 3 years probation. And these charges were for crimes that had actually happened in February of 2012, but the process ended up happening the days before Heather went missing. And these charges were felony assault charges, assault with a semi-automatic rifle, and then they had also added on serious assault because of prior serious violent felonies. I mean, these were all serious felony charges, and then he ended up pleading out to them. So he pretty much got probation.
Yeah, we should stop letting that happen. I wish there was a way to just be like, hey, let's not do that anymore. Just lock him up.
Especially because he clearly, one of the charges was a felony and serious assault because of a prior serious violent felony. So
I'm so sick of the leniency on violent crimes. It's
ridiculous. You keep going through this guy's rap sheet. There is also other court documents showing charges in May of 2012. Possession of a deadly weapon, carrying a concealed weapon, brass knuckles, carrying a firearm in a car, various drug charges. And then that's all prior to Heather's disappearance in August of 2012. After Heather's disappearance, so in November of 2012, he was arrested in a stolen vehicle that had a bunch of stolen property from various other victims. He had possession of other drugs. Eventually, Lusby would go on to make it onto Shasta County's most wanted list until he was apprehended. That happened in January of 2015.
Yeah, he's not a good guy.
He's not a good guy. And this is the guy who was last seen with her. And the day that Heather went missing, she would call 911 from his phone, pleading for help, saying that she had been drugged.
Yeah, I need so much of... Did you say on the podcast yet that this is unsolved?
I did not say it on the podcast. Oh, maybe I did tell you.
Sorry, that's why I was like, I don't know, because I have comments, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember if you had said that. Cut this out.
I don't know if that was before we started recording or not, but spoiler! Yeah,
so
that's why I did tell you were going to get infuriated. I'm pretty sure I said that on the podcast, so yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, you can commit crimes. You can be a shit person. You can get drug-related charges, weapon-related charges, whatever. And there's a lot of those people out there, and they're not murderers. But when you have all of those things, and then you tell me what you just told me about her making a phone call, last being seen, all of those, I am just gonna sit here quietly and have you explain to me what they're basing this off of, because it better be like the most legit alibi or whatever it is to tell me that he's not connected. So I'm very eager to hear what you have to say about all of that right now, immediately. Start.
You should just leave right now, because you're just gonna get mad.
I'm already mad. I stay mad. Let's go. We're all mad here.
All right.
What?
I know.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm sorry for her. I'm sorry that this world does stuff like this.
So you should have seen my face when I was, because, okay, let me talk about it and then I'll start yelling.
Okay.
So on August 18th, 2012, Heather had actually just checked out of a drug rehab program. She was doing what she needed to do. So like I said, she struggled with these things, but it's not like she was not working on it.
Which is great. But even if she wasn't working on it, even if she was still actively, doing drugs, that doesn't mean you get to get murdered.
No, exactly. Well, and especially when she was literally calling for help.
Right.
So She checks out of a drug rehab program, and it was actually Lesby who picks her up. And from what I can tell, it's hard because there's not a lot of actual report that I can find related to this, but there are a lot of interviews with like her cousins. So from what I can tell, it was literally like right after she left and she was picked up by Lesby. And this is just a week after she had turned like 28. The two were headed to Keswick Dam, which is a remote area outside of Redding, California. It's near the Sacramento River and Shasta Dam. And so this area, like I said, it's remote. It has steep hills, canyons, and poor cell phone reception. So the records show that on that day, around 2:50 p.m., Heather called 911 from around this Keswick Dam area. And she says that she's been drugged and that she needs help. And it is noted that in the background, there's a male voice that could be heard. It's also noted that at the time of the call, Heather said that she was on foot. Now, in various missing persons flyers and reports, they do mention a vehicle associated with the case. They say that it's a gray 2003 Chevy four-door truck with a California license plate, 8Z75740. Now, after some digging, what I did find was a Facebook post that said that this was actually Daniel Lesby's vehicle.
Okay.
Because of the remoteness of the area and the poor cell phone reception, Heather would actually end up needing to call 3 times because of multiple dropped calls. And she was using Daniel Lesby's phone to make the calls. So a woman calls 911 multiple times from not her own phone, saying she was on foot when the man she was with had a car. She's saying she'd been drugged and she needed help. And there's a male voice in the background. To me,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
this
to you and to me. To you and to me.
This sounds like she snatched her phone and she's fucking running and I'm calling for help.
Yeah. I'm waiting for you to tell me that there's like proof that, you know, she stole his phone and vehicle and that the other guy was somewhere and they have video footage of her with a different guy. And that's the only reason that this one specific guy is not locked up for this. Your face makes me think that's not the direction that we're heading. And I don't like that.
So I'll keep going.
Okay.
And not look at you.
Good choice.
Eventually, the calls do stop coming. It's unclear how quickly this happened, but there was an initial search conducted. Because of the remoteness of the area, they had to pull out, you know, a lot of options. They got a California Highway Patrol helicopter. They also had the Bureau of Land Reclamation ATV come out and search the area, but it's caverns and steep hills and things like that. So they were searching all around, but unfortunately they were unable to find Heather and they didn't find anything suspicious. Heather's cousin Tanya said the only thing that they were ever able to find was her EBT card. Authorities then go to interview Lesby as a person of interest. Person of interest.
Following.
Person of interest.
Yeah.
And when authorities asked him what happened, why did Heather have his phone? Like, what the heck? All he says is that
and
at
his
some
vehicle.
point, well, she didn't necessarily have his vehicle. They just said that, from what I can tell, is this vehicle was quote unquote associated with the case.
Okay.
She didn't necessarily. I'm not sure it means like she had it.
Okay.
I think what it means is they know that that vehicle was there because it's his vehicle, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the last vehicle she's known to have been in and or around.
So, quick question. Is that what they're basing the last known sighting of them being together, or they were seen together and then there's also this?
I'll answer your question by saying, when they asked him, what is up?
Yeah.
He said that they had been together, but that at some point they separated. And that she had his phone.
Okay.
That's it. That's all.
That's not all. But okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't say that's all. Don't
that's
say
all
it
he
again.
said.
Oh, okay.
He would be interviewed 3 times. The last time was in April of 2014, less than 2 years after Heather disappeared in August of 2012. He would never be arrested. And his phone would never be recovered. The phone that Heather called from, never recovered.
Yeah. It's just too suspicious, too concerning, too coincidental, too ridiculous.
On September 4th, 2012, about 2 to 3 weeks later, Heather's estranged husband actually would officially file the missing persons report. Heather's cousin, Shannon, said that, at this point, they definitely knew. They obviously knew something was wrong, but they knew for sure, okay, something is definite. Like, we need to make sure, like, this is all filed correctly, because they knew that Heather would never go, like, radio silent for that long without contacting her children or their fathers. So after the missing person report, they conducted more searches. They had that initial search, but then they conducted more searches. The Shasta County Sheriffs and then the family also conducted more searches. And Shannon also created the Find Heather Cameron Haller Facebook page, which of course we will have in the show notes. Just last year, around the time that Heather actually would have celebrated her birthday, a post on this Facebook page read, "Heather is a grandma." So Heather's son had a baby boy of his own. Yeah. A grandchild that obviously Heather has yet to meet. But Rachel,
don't but Rachel me. So, are there statements from the family? Has the family said anything along the lines of, like, maybe they think she did take off, or maybe that post is to try to pull on her heartstrings and try to get her to come home?
Heather's cousins, both Tanya and Shannon, they have said how hard it's been for the family, that it's especially a difficult struggle not knowing what happened because Heather has never been found. And what Tanya did say was that, that search for her, I actually do not know if it was the initial search after those 911 calls were placed, or if it was the subsequent searches following the missing persons report. But, her EBT card was eventually found. And Tanya said, quote, "We feel that area is probably where she lost her life," end quote.
Gotcha.
So at least Tanya feels that there is a specific person responsible for this. So I did also read something that, after a certain amount of time, what they can do is file, because she's been missing for so long, they can file for a death certificate so that her children can receive certain benefits. But officially, Heather is still considered a a missing person under suspicious circumstances, and her case is technically unsolved. And as for Daniel Lusby, the Shasta County Sheriff's Office, Sergeant Brian Jackson, he said, let me find the quote. So he said, quote, "He is still a person of interest and this case is still open. There is still information we are trying to corroborate," end quote. But that was back in 2017. And like I said, this is unfortunately one of those cases that we haven't heard much from.
Yeah, it's been at like a standstill.
Yeah, it's frustrating. But the fact of the matter is, we have verifiable information that there was someone who was with her, one person that was with her in the moments before she disappeared. We know she placed a call to 911 saying that she needed help and that she felt that she had been drugged. And we know that she was never seen or heard from after that.
My head's kind of like all over the place right now.
The thing that gets me and why I got so upset when I was looking up Daniel Lusby's records. Because, look, everyone is innocent until proven guilty under a court of law. Okay? Okay. But if I was reading these court records correctly, the day before or 2 days before this happened, Daniel Lusby had pled out to several felonies. They'd made a plea deal where he pled out one or two of these felony charges and they dismissed the other ones so that he could get 3 years probation, which he ended up maybe 3-4 months later breaking probation for getting arrested for something else. Had they not given him a plea deal, and had he just been required to
serve his time,
then
Heather would allegedly be here still.
I mean, Lord knows there's a million other things, because if he was out on bail, already, he may not have had to serve his sentence until whatever time. Maybe he still would have been out, just because they might have said, okay, report back, in 2 weeks, you're going to start serving your sentence, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, this guy had a rap sheet, and you can look at his record. It's plea deal after plea deal after plea deal. This guy's pled out several freaking times.
Yeah.
To multiple different types of felony charges. And then someone goes missing under, suspicious circumstances, and he's the last person to be around them?
Yeah, it's so hard, because we talk about the position of runaways, right? So just talking about people who run away. We talk about it often because there's too many times and too many cases where things are kind of like pushed to the side a little bit. Possibly, some cases maybe not, but in some cases we see that where it's like, we're not going to investigate. They probably just took off. They probably needed some time. They were going through something, blah, blah, blah. And it's not fair to anyone involved in Heather's case whatsoever. And I'm not saying they were thinking this way, but the thought in my brain is not being thought well enough in this moment. But it's like, I struggle because you can't be one-sided or single-minded when it comes to this, right? And I feel like it sucks when you see people look that way and it's a different way.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they narrowed in on that thought, even though he is, a person of interest at this time. So I feel like maybe they were looking in all different directions, but how else? It doesn't make sense to me if they weren't looking that direction of she probably just took off. you had this, and that.
Yeah.
To say otherwise, like a whole different story. So it blows my mind.
I have no idea how he was brought in for questioning. I don't understand how there wasn't enough circumstantial evidence for at least an arrest, or at least, I mean, and I don't know, maybe it's just not reported on, or at least a freaking search warrant of his truck.
And maybe they did all of that.
Maybe there is, and it's just not reported on.
Yeah.
God, I hope there was, but it's just not reported on. It says that he's still a person of interest and the case is open. At least that was what was said in 2017, and that they're still working on information. But that, I mean, well, what the fuck?
You said that area is super rough too, so it's like that's so hard, because if she was running, could something else have happened?
Sure.
But how would you not find the phone? How would you not find her body? How would you not find certain things that would be able to tell a
kind of
different story?
evidence of some kind of, like, if she fell or something like that.
This isn't that old either. So the phone situation is concerning to me, because there's ways to track phones that, it's
exactly.
That to me is even crazier.
Yeah, it was from 2012. So we're not talking like
a 1960s case where
I mean, we're not even talking like 2001 where you couldn't even, and it's just so upsetting, because when I can't even remember how I came across it initially, but then of course, then I Googled her name, and everything is, the last article I think I read was in 2017, which would have been 5 years after she went missing, and then there's nothing, and the only thing is these Facebook posts.
Where she went missing, was it like on a reservation, or was it on? No.
Yeah, because then you would think, okay, maybe there's some jurisdictional shit happening, which we've definitely seen happen before in some of these cases. But it is just so frustrating, because there's just this, I mean, this case is headed to cold case territory if it's not already there. But let's just hope that by us talking about it, with the Facebook every year, they're still bringing, they talk about it. Her birthday, which is right around the time that she went missing, and we're hoping that if we keep saying her name, that we can keep it alive, because for her family, for her kids, for her grandchildren now. Right. That she has yet to meet, it's still right there every day, waking up and not knowing what happened. And there's a quote from her cousin Tanya, who's just a very eloquent speaker.
Well, I strive to be that way.
I know. Same.
It doesn't work for me.
No, and we have a podcast. So Tanya said this, quote, "We remember Heather every day. We may never be able to bring her home and lay her to rest, but we will never give up. When I look at Heather's face, I see the faces of all our tribal members who are enduring domestic violence, depression, addiction, and suicide." End quote. So just a reminder, you guys, I know I said it at the top of the episode, but October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And again, to just provide that information for the Domestic Violence Hotline, if you need the resources or the help, you can call 1-800-799-SAFE. So 1-800-799-7233. Or you can text START to 88788. Heather Cameron Haller was a mother of 4 whose last known location was the area near Keswick Dam outside of Redding, California, on August 18th, 2012. A known vehicle associated is the gray 2003 Chevy Silverado 4-door truck with the California license plate 8Z75740. Heather had brown eyes and brown hair. She was 5'5" to 5'6" and weighed about 115 pounds. She had a back tattoo of a tribal flower and a tattoo on her right calf of a girl and a gun with tribal flowers. If you have any information about Heather, please contact the Shasta County Sheriff's Department at 530-245-6025. Her case number is 2012-27344.
Yeah. There was like a moment when you were telling the description of the car where I was like, why are you even talking about that? Like, we know who the car belongs to,
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, wait, because someone could
have
see
seen
the
it.
vehicle
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. But I was like, we know it belongs to him. Yeah, you guys, if you have any information on her disappearance, on any of it, even if you have information on this guy, even if you've had conversations with him,
because I think his story is just
Lusby.
way too... There's obviously more, please let there be more, that, isn't being made public or available. But when he says, we were there, we got separated, and she had my phone. Okay, and then where did you go after? Where was the last place you saw her? Why did she call and say she was drugged? Was there anybody else you saw there? Because the 911 operator noted, and I assume that it was the 911 operator who noted it, that there was a male voice in the background. Was that you? What time did you see her? Or what time was she near you? Because, he says we were there, but then we got separated and she had my phone. But she was on foot. So if she's on foot somewhere else, where are you? I'm crossing my fingers that there is more information. And, the officer said we're trying to corroborate some of this stuff. But I'm really wondering, because there's enough to me, like you said, unless there's some other alibi that they can place him somewhere else at 2:50 when the call was made. How there was not enough evidence here to at least arrest him and then go search his vehicle, whatever. How is he still only a person of interest?
They should be asking those questions constantly. And I think earlier you had said that he had been questioned 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, were all of those questionings the exact same? Like, did his story change at all?
Yeah.
Apparently not, if he's still out there walking free right now.
Well, and that's what's crazy to me is, like, we've covered cases before where we know that a guy's story changed between the 2 times he was questioned, and we know that his story changed by 2 different words because the coverage of that case was that fucking good.
Yeah, for sure.
So why do we not have that coverage here? I mean, this woman literally called 911 and was never seen again.
Gosh, it makes me think so much. Is it Carmichael?
Marissa Carmichael.
Yeah, it makes me think so much of her case, and especially with how we've still got no further. So
I'm just so, yeah. But that's unfortunately where we stand today with Heather Cameron Haller. I know that, this case at this point is over 13 years since Heather's been missing. And it's obviously been a bit since there's been it's not like there's been ongoing coverage, but I'm hoping we have done our part. And I know we have a lot of listeners in California. And so let's, hopefully we can continue to get the word out there. What grabbed my attention, and it's so interesting you mentioned Marissa Carmichael, because that did grab my attention. She called 911 and then went missing and was never seen again.
These people are calling for help.
Mm-hmm.
They're calling for help. And in this case, like, I'm not saying that they're claiming she ran away, but the thought of that possibility, or just not doing more,
yeah,
blows my mind.
I mean, especially with this guy's record.
And maybe I want to hold on to that inkling of hope that they are doing so much and they need the one thing and they're sitting on it and they're waiting. That doesn't make sense to me 13 years later.
I know.
You know? Like, I understand, like, sitting on it. And when I say it doesn't make sense to me, I'm not in this field. I'm not a professional. I don't know.
Right.
So don't be like, well, what are you even talking about? This is my own opinion. This is my own, whatever. I don't understand how you can sit on something for 13 years.
Yeah.
So to me, they don't have anything. They have to have nothing. That's where my head goes. You either have something for a little bit of years or you have nothing for a whole shit ton of years.
I think about, my head just keeps looking at his record. I mean, it's public record. All I had to do was type his name into Shasta County's Superior Court website.
Well, and it's like, and you can't be like, oh, he's a murderer because he does this,
you cannot.
this, and that.
Everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
But how about let's create a law and put it in nationwide that if you have, say, 3 felonies and are on a potential suspect, like you're a person of interest. If you have 3 felonies and a person of interest, those things go together, and now you have a phone tap, and you are monitored, and you're questioned yearly.
Well,
I don't know.
The fact that he had, and it's not even, it's like, if you have a felony, because if you steal a certain amount of merchandise from a fucking department store, that's a felony.
I know,
right?
Yeah, that's why I said 3. I'm not trying to just be like, oh, that dumbass made a mistake. No,
I get it. But what I'm saying, these are violent felonies. Like, these were like firearm felonies, assault felonies. These were violent freaking felonies, man.
Yeah, bad guys.
It was so close in time. We're talking the months before she disappeared. Time. And literally,
escalation.
Like, in the days before she disappeared, he had pled out for probation. And I know it is not always fair to say that you should judge someone based on their criminal past. I know this.
I do.
I have family members who I do not judge them based on their criminal past.
I judge my family members.
I know that. But I also know, like, it's not a violent thing. But at the same time, like you said, if I see that, hey, my guy's a person of interest in this case, and my guy literally just pled out on probation, like, I'm going to look at this. I don't know. It's just, and who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's not him. Who knows?
That's what I'm saying. Like, there has to be something else that they're like, no, we know because he was doing this, or I don't know, maybe they don't want to give information. This is totally just me going as far out there as possible. Maybe he was an informant, or maybe he was doing something else for him, and that's why they let him out in the first place. And they know for a fact that he wasn't tied into it because he was doing their work. You know what I mean? So therefore, I don't know. This is crazy. I feel so bad for her family, her children, her grandchildren. It's so sad, and it's gone on too long. This family deserves answers. And if not answered, they deserve their mom.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, we say it all the time. There's no closure with these kinds of things, but they definitely deserve answers.
Right.
My heart definitely goes out to her family, her children, her grandchildren. You can tell she was family oriented. She's got these amazing cousins who are still fighting for her all these years later. Her cousin Tanya is very active, it seems, making it known that everything that women in these communities, that the struggle that women in these communities are facing. And she many times, you know, importantly and very rightfully so, puts a name Heather's name, her cousin's name, and lets everyone know, like, this is not just a faceless, nameless epidemic. Like, this is a real thing that the women that we know are dealing with, and it's our cousins, it's our sisters, it's our mothers, it's our daughters, and we all need to be aware.
Yeah. Yep.
That there are some groups, and like we said at the top of the episode, you know, it happening to anyone is not okay, but we need to be aware that there are some groups that it's just more rampant for reasons that are beyond their control, and it is not talked about enough. It is not given enough coverage, also for reasons beyond their control. And so we need to make sure we're doing our parts. And our podcast is probably guilty of it. I mean, is guilty of it, that we need to do more coverage on MMIW. We have obviously covered some Black and missing or missing and murdered Black women, missing and murdered Black mothers. We are definitely not covering as many as we could be. We could be doing a better job at that as well. It's something that I think just media in general, it's just part of the problem.
No, it is a problem. It's a bummer because, I mean, you can say we're not doing that, which you're right. If you scroll down our feed, I mean, it's one-sided, but it also goes into the fact that we could do better at trying to find them. But it's also the fact that when we're researching a case and there's a case that has 37 different links and articles and information, it's a lot easier to try to bring that coverage to you guys, which these cases don't have that. And so therefore it does make it a little more difficult.
Exactly.
And so therefore
this case, in terms of details,
right.
Scant.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
Yeah. But you're right. That shouldn't dictate whether or not we cover someone. And it's not like we've ever like looked at something and said, no, I don't feel like covering that person. Right. You know, it's not, that's not where our hearts are. And it's not an attempt to turn a blind eye or not do, you know, what we want to do. We could do better.
We could do better. Unfortunately, the statistics show too that even if we did try proportional coverage, let's say, it would be near impossible because the numbers are so skewed. So we just need to keep that in mind. Remember to be cognizant of that.
Absolutely. Well, you did a great job finding what you could and sharing about her. And you guys go to the show notes for more information. If you're not following our social media, follow our social media so you can see pictures and updates and information as well on what we are talking about. That is it. We've got some spooky shit coming your guys' way pretty soon. You know, we are officially it is October 1st. We are in spooky season now. I haven't even decorated my house, so I am behind. I need to get on it. But yeah, we've got some important cases coming, and then we've got some more spooky stuff coming your way as well. I'm ready for it. I like spooky season.
I'm excited too. I think the case I have been assigned / volunteered for, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one for spooky season.
To me, it's like spooky season is like a precursor into all of
the first step.
You know, the holidays that are about to be happening. It's always the beginning of just chaos, some stress, but full hearts and full stomachs and bellies because I love eating so much. So cannot wait for treats and food and all the things. All right, we will talk to you guys next week. In the meantime, just see you next week.
Best we can do.
I was like, I don't even have anything to say about him that we haven't already said.
Go to the batting cages. In the meantime, go to the batting cages.
All right, I'll go do that right now. I've got 45 minutes till my daughter gets home. So no, I won't make it. But maybe as soon as she gets home, we head that way. All right. Talk to you guys later. Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.